This is Mission Qualfon, a monthly podcast that takes you inside the workings of our company, but not just the ins and outs of business. We look at the ideas and insights that make Qualfon truly unique. As a company, we are committed to being the best and making each person's life better. Join us as we get to know and learn from people from across the organization. What's their story? What have they learned? And how do they live out Qualfon's mission? Welcome to Mission Qualfon.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the Mission Qualfon podcast. Jeremy, how are you doing?
I am well, and I have to tell you, I'm really looking forward to this episode. This will be a departure from what we're typically talking about, and I'm super excited about our guest and our topic that we have today.
My inner geek, which I've kind of already shared with the audience, I'm a little bit of a sci-fi geek, is super excited for this episode. I think, to your point, you and I have talked about how Qualfon it's like an onion. And I know I wish I need a better metaphor than this, but it is like an onion. You peel away and there's layers. And when I found out about Cuatro Ciénegas and how we support the community there with our 2040 plan, we mentioned that a little bit in a previous podcast on season 1 with Mari Carmen. We have a lot of philanthropy. We support generations of family there. I knew it was important, and I knew it was important to our chairman because he was born there, and I believe two of his brothers still live there. What I didn't know about Cuatro Ciénegas, and I didn't really hear about it too much, was about the ponds and the environmentalism and just the uniqueness and how special this town is. It's located in the middle of the Chihuahuan Desert. And it's such an interesting story, and how Qualfon supports this. I can't wait to share it with our audience.
Yeah, I agree. And I remember it was my boss, Al Baranachia, who first was telling me about this project that's going on that Qualfon is involved with. I was shocked, in a good way, that we were involved with this, because it seemed so outside of what a normal BPO company would be working on. This huge scientific environment project that's going on, and of course we'll get into details with Dr. Arocha, but it's fascinating. And one of the things that really struck me is the fact that Cuatro Ciénegas, this area around Cuatro Ciénegas, is the most microbiologically diverse place in the whole world. There are things here, and Dr. Arocha will share this with us. There are things here that aren't found anywhere else on the face of the earth. And I just thought that's pretty cool. And the fact that Qualfon has an interest in and involvement in this is just really neat.
It's considered one of the most important wetlands in the world, and it's got over 200 ponds, which, when you say that and you read it off a little PowerPoint, 200 ponds doesn't sound like anything terribly exciting. Wait till we find out about what's in these ponds.
Exactly.
Because it's just an amazing story, and I'm grateful to work for a company that, is environmentally conscious like this. It's just, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
So with no further ado, let us introduce our resident scientist, Dr. Hector Arocha. Welcome, Dr. Hector. Can I call you Hector?
Yes, of course, Marisol.
Jeremy and I are nervous because we're not scientists, and so we want to make sure that we set this up properly for you. But how did we do with that introduction?
Yeah, it's perfect. Thank you.
Great. So I have a question for Dr. Arocha right out of the gate, and that's this. How did you come to be involved with this? I'd love to hear just a little of your background and history, and how you became familiar with our founder, Alfonso, and this project. So just tell us a little bit about that.
First of all, I want to thank you for inviting me. I'm very, very happy to have the opportunity to participate in this podcast. It's something very different for me, but I'm very happy because I'm able to share a little bit about the importance of Cuatro Ciénegas and our work in Genesis project. I was born here in Cuatro Ciénegas, which is a very small town, but very beautiful place with a great nature and a lot of history. I studied here through the high school, and then I have the opportunity to go to Monterrey to study the University of Nuevo León in the biology faculty, a degree in genomic biotechnology. This is such a different thing that the people in Cuatro Ciénegas is usually study. It's a very different thing. After that, I got a PhD in biotechnology in the same university. Then, years ago, I had the opportunity to work in the United States for almost 3 years in a biotech company. But since I was a child, I was in love of the amazing treasures that Cuatro Ciénegas have to offer and the incredible nature that the natural protected area have in Cuatro Ciénegas. So I always had on my mind a big dream to find a way to come back to Cuatro Ciénegas and be able to do something to transcend. To find a way to help the environmental and the people in Cuatro Ciénegas in such important place in the world. So suddenly, a year ago, my big dream came true. As a part of Mission Cuatro Ciénegas, to help to support Plan Cuatro Ciénegas 2040, the members of that beautiful plan invite me to lead a project that involves all the environmental facts and importance of Cuatro Ciénegas. That project, 1 year ago, we named it Genesis.
I think the name is wonderful because when you hear the details of what's in, like you said, the treasures of Cuatro Ciénegas, it's a perfect name.
Yeah.
So Genesis right now is a laboratory for scientific research. It's the first laboratory in that kind in Cuatro Ciénegas, where we are dedicated to studying endemic microorganisms of Cuatro Ciénegas Valley and its bioprotection opportunities. Only one goal, to teach the new generations to appreciate the importance of Cuatro Ciénegas through the science, a very, very equipped lab. And very soon, we will have a scientific information center where we can share with the locals and visitors, because we have a lot of visitors here in Cuatro Ciénegas, the more than 50 years of research that have been carried out in Cuatro Ciénegas. A lot of scientists from all around the world come to Cuatro Ciénegas to investigate the valley. So we want to teach in this center to appreciate and protect such a place as fragile as is Cuatro Ciénegas.
So let me repeat it back to you because you and I have discussed Genesis and I've seen your PowerPoint and I get it. But for our audience who's not able to see it, Genesis is a laboratory for scientific research where scientists from all around the world come to visit to study Cuatro Ciénegas and the importance of the microorganisms found in the valley. That's only found in the whole world. It's found here in Cuatro Ciénegas.
Yes, you are right, Marisol. The goal to have Genesis in Cuatro Ciénegas is to have a lab where the scientists work here in Cuatro Ciénegas. Our dream is that the scientists that study Cuatro Ciénegas come from the new generations in Cuatro Ciénegas. We want to have a center where it's a laboratory, very well equipped, where the new generations can learn and can investigate Cuatro Ciénegas.
Well, it's in line with, I know, our chairman and our CEOs, and the importance that they put on education and continuous education and down the line for generations to come. So I feel like it's perfect symmetry to what our mission is, which is to do that, to provide research, laboratory, and education. It doesn't seem like it would fall into a BPO company's philosophy, but now having worked with Qualfon for a couple of years, it does fall in line. And I think the fact that this is where our chairman was born and his family, and that it's such an important place in the world, it's just very fitting. So let's dig in, because I want to make sure that the audience understands the significance of why Quattrocenagus is so rare scientifically. So tell us about the oldest evidence of life. And they're found in these ponds. So, we made a reference to like Jurassic Park and the Lost World, but this is what we're talking about, right?
Yes, you're right. I'm sure you are probably wondering why to create such a big project in Cuatro Ciénegas, in a very small town. But I want to explain you why. Cuatro Ciénegas, Coahuila, Mexico, as you already say, is located in the middle of the Chihuahuan Desert, which is the biggest desert in North America. This desert encompasses different states of Mexico and United States. This is a unique place in Earth and was declared a natural protected area in 1994, more than 25 years ago, and has been studied for more than 50 years for many scientists from around the world. Even NASA has studied Cuatro Ciénegas because it's considered the most similar place to Mars here in the planet Earth.
Wow.
Yeah. And right now, it's considered too one of the most important wetlands in the world. But probably many of you still thinking, why this thing place in the desert? This is studied and very famous among the scientific community. Cuatro Ciénegas Valley have more than 77 endemic species of plants and animals. Endemic means that the plants and animals are unique and can't be found anywhere else in the world. Turtles, spiders, fishes are unique in the world, and we have millions and millions of unique microorganisms too. So even for the inhabitants of this town, this fact still being amazing, that we are able to coexist with unique organisms on Earth. Because of that, this beautiful place has been ranked as one of the world's most important hotspots of biodiversity and endemism. In addition to that, of having so many unique species, as you already told the audience, we have more than 200 colorful ponds with beautiful crystal clear water. That ponds maintain similar conditions when the life originally appeared of the planet Earth. Imagine that. That is like crazy. That data still blows my mind after years of studying the Cuatro Ciénegas ponds. Those ponds are the only reminders of the Precambrian stage and still have living stromatolites, which are the oldest evidence on life on the planet Earth.
Let's take a moment and pause. So, because that's huge. That's amazing that I have not been to Cuatro Ciénegas, but I've seen the pictures. The waters are completely beautiful, crystal clear. I can't wait to go. Have you been, Jeremy?
I have not been, and I want to go, but I have had team members that have gone and kind of toured the area and seen all of this and always come back amazed. I want to ask Dr. Arocha a question. We talked about the stromatolites. You talked about how it's the oldest evidence of life on Earth, but help a non-scientific person understand, why is that so important? What is so important about the fact that we have living stromatolites in these ponds in Cuatro Ciénegas?
Yes, Jeremy. I want to explain you like very easily that what are the stromatolites.
Please.
The stromatolites are the microorganisms that invented the photosynthesis 3.5 billion years ago. It's a long time. It's a long time to think. Only 1,000 million years after the planet Earth was created, the stromatolites filled the planet with oxygen, bubble by bubble. They were the ones who changed the planet Earth from being a red planet to be a blue planet. They are so important for the evolution in life. They were literally the cause of having an atmosphere like the one we have now. So this is a very important fact. In Cuatro Ciénegas, the stromatolites are still alive. And yes, you hear well, Marisol and Jeremy. The stromatolites in Cuatro Ciénegas still alive.
So the oldest living please correct me, because it's been a long time since I took a biology course of any sort. But the oldest living organism is found in Cuatro Ciénegas.
Yeah, the stromatolites are the oldest evidence of life in planet Earth. So we can find in Cuatro Ciénegas, and in Cuatro Ciénegas they still alive. But this is a crazy thing for the scientists. But they are always asking and wondering why they are still alive in Cuatro Ciénegas. Well, in Cuatro Ciénegas, the ponds, the water in the ponds had similar conditions to the Precambrian stage. That means that the ponds have very low amounts of nutrients and a lot of minerals, like the sea in the Precambrian stage. So the stromatolites here are the only ones in the world that have not had to need to evolve. They are like similar to the ones that emerged 3.5 billion years ago.
Wow.
They are the direct descendants of the stromatolites that transform our planet Earth.
That's just mind-blowing to me.
And this is the only place on Earth that still has living stromatolites?
There are other places in the world that they have living stromatolites.
Okay.
But the stromatolites in other parts in the world, they have to adapt and evolve to the conditions where they are living.
Okay.
In Cuatro Ciénegas, we have the exactly same conditions to the Precambrian stage. So the stromatolites that live in these ponds, they don't have the need to evolve. So they are very similar to the ones that create the atmosphere 3.5 billion years ago.
So we founded Genesis to help spread the importance of Cuatro Ciénegas, preserving Cuatro Ciénegas Valley, the ponds, which I'm reading off of something you wrote, Hector, so I'm not trying to steal your words, but we're trying to keep all the secrets of the origins of life protected scientifically. Is that an accurate way to describe that?
Yes.
You know, we talk about spirituality all the time on our podcast and how important it is. I find it equally important to appreciate and honor science. So for me, this just makes me so happy. To just be associated with a company that is doing something like this is just another added value to our jobs here. So thank you. Thank you to everyone who's involved with this project and who's doing all the work and it's just so cool.
Yeah.
So have you got to meet people from, all the scientists from the different parts of the world? Is this like a day in the life for you? Is fielding calls about Cuatro Ciénegas and the science behind it?
Yes, it's completely normal right now. Mm-hmm. A lot of scientists comes to Cuatro Ciénegas, and imagine how proud I feel have been born in Cuatro Ciénegas, being a part of Genesis. So because Genesis is right now is able to understand all the evolutionary process to have existed in our planet. Studying Cuatro Ciénegas, we can understand all the ways of the evolution in our planet Earth, and we can understand climate change effects and many other things. So that is why Genesis was founded, to help to spread the importance of this unique place on Earth, to educate and to preserve Cuatro Ciénegas Valley, only for the new generations.
I can't wait for the podcast to help spread the message because I think it's cool. I want to sound more professional. Ultimately, I just think it's super cool. Wasn't this on the cover of a science magazine? I'm trying to think of what the magazine is, but Science.
Yes.
We were on the cover of that, weren't we? About this. It's not really a discovery. It's more that we are protecting it, right? And studying it and creating the tools for people to come and study it as well.
Yes, yes. A lot of scientific is helping Genesis. Genesis is like a union with Qualfon and many scientists from around the world to find a way to share all the information and the importance of Cuatro Ciénegas. Genesis is like the union, the first union between company, inhabitants of Cuatro Ciénegas and scientists from around the world.
Mm.
And we have a museum with the biotech lab, correct, in Cuatro Ciénegas that people can go visit?
The museum is still building.
It's under construction?
Yeah, it's in construction, yeah.
That's exciting. Well, post-COVID and when the lab and the museum are finished, I think, if anyone's looking for a trip for a vacation, go to Cuatro Ciénegas.
For sure.
What's the name of the hotel? Hotel
Maria Elena.
Go stay at the Hotel Maria Elena, which we'll discuss on another podcast, and go visit and learn about Genesis and the beautiful ponds and the incredibly historic value of Cuatro Ciénegas and all its beautiful treasures.
Dr. Arocha, it was wonderful having you here today. And it was really exciting to hear about what's going on in Cuatro Ciénegas. Thank you so much for your hard work. And thank you so much for being so passionate about Cuatro Ciénegas. And it's been an honor to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you, Jeremy and Marisol. I'm very happy to share with you guys the information about Cuatro Ciénegas and with the Qualfon family too. And everyone is welcome here to come here to Cuatro Ciénegas to visit and see for yourselves this marvelous place.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I can't wait to go and I can't wait to visit because I want to see Genesis. I want to see the museum. I want to see it all. Jeremy, how exciting was that? So do you know, Jeremy, that I'm a Girl Scout leader?
I did not know that.
I've been a Girl Scout leader for 15 years. I'm very proud of that. And I cannot wait to share this with all the troops because we're part of the Girl Scout promise is about environmentalism and protecting the world, or the environment. So I'm super excited that I got to be a part of this because sometimes I feel like I want to be, I want to do more and there's more things that I want to do. And just knowing that I work for a company where I don't have anything directly related to do with Genesis or Cuatro Ciénegas, but that I work for a company that when I do my best, it circles back to things like this, just makes me so happy.
Yeah, and this is a further indication, further evidence of Qualfon's commitment to generations, right? And Hector mentioned that a few times, and our whole 2040 plan is about really it's stewardship, right? It's leaving things better than you found it. It's leaving the world a better place for those that come later. And that's something that has really jumped out at me about our founder, Alfonso, and what Qualfon does. And this is just fascinating. And from a scientific standpoint, and we didn't really get into this too much in the interview, but I know for a fact that there is a lot of visitors from the scientific community that go to that area. And I don't know if that's the main source of tourism, but so much of it is related to this work that's going on with the Genesis project. So it's awesome.
He mentioned NASA came.
Yeah, NASA's been there. Yeah, it's incredible.
It's really, just another testament to Qualfon. So On that note, when I start to over compliment Qualfon, I feel like that's the end of the podcast.
Well, all I'm going to say is this. Once COVID's all over and done with, I really think you and I, as Mission Qualfon members or Mission Qualfon podcast producers, really should spend some time in Cuatro Ciénegas. We should absolutely be there.
Do a whole week of just Cuatro Ciénegas podcast.
That would be awesome.
I'm with you. I think we should pitch it. Here, there's the pitch.
There it is.
Jeremy, thank you again. It's always a pleasure to do these with you. Everyone listening, thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. There's more information that you can learn about Cuatro Ciénegas and the Genesis program. Thank you to our listeners for listening. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I do have a favor. Please, if you've gotten this long into the podcast, you are a listener. So please subscribe, rate, and review because those things do help us. Thank you, Jeremy.
Bye, Marisol. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Mission Qualfon. Remember, you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Mission Qualfon.